June 10th, 2026 meeting of the Upper Wabash River Basin Commission. Let's begin with introductions. I'll start it off, then go to Kyle around the table, and then the people up in the audience. I'm Doug Sungling, representing Wells County SWCD.
Kyle One, Huntington County SWCD.
I'm Jared Hahn, the Wells County Surveyor.
Blake Goober, Wells County Commissioner.
Mike Whirling, Adams County Surveyor.
Dave Packer, representing Huntington County Commissioners.
Doug Bauman, Adams County Commissioner.
Katie Blair, Admin Secretary, Fiscal Officer. Taylor Swimman, Jay County Soil and Water.
Julie Good, Allen County Soil and Water.
Doug Newsbaum, Department of Natural Resources, Lake River Municipal Program.
Okay, thank you, welcome. Our April 8th, the minutes of our April 8th meeting. Katie, we see she sent them out. Are there any questions or comments?
I move to approve.
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion to approve by Kyle, second by Blake. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, Katie, why don't you pass around and everybody here sign the back. Katie, the financial reports for the last 2 months.
I can't hear you very well, Doug.
Is the speaker's on?
Is it on? All right, the financial report for the previous 2 months. Katie.
Okay, there you go, I can hear you now. Okay, so we have two financial reports which were sent prior. So for April, so we had the Adams County Treasurer's claim, so the commissioners, wrote a check for $2,000. There were two disbursements. One was for GoDaddy.com for our website. The other one was my salary. So we ended for our checking account, available checking was $14,138.61. So when we look at May, so the Wells County Commissioner sent a check in for $2,000. The Jay County Commissioner sent in a check for $500. I wrote 3 checks. One was the United States Treasury, which was for $941 to pay payroll taxes. And then my salary check, and then there was also payroll liabilities for the state of Indiana. And I paid that, that was $5.63. So available funding, was $16,632.98. Do you have any questions?
Okay.
I just, one, okay, Katie, it sounds to me like Jay, or that, Walsh County sent their 2,000. Adams County sent their 2,000. Right? Jay County sent 500.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, now what about Huntington County?
So the only two checks we haven't got was from Huntington County, and I don't know why. So everybody else has sent their, the checks in.
So then Jay County owes 1,500 and Huntington County still owes 2,000.
Over here, I think in June, I just cashed 3 checks in June, so.
Huntington County and Huntington County SWCD have not contributed yet. Jay County commissioners only want to contribute 500.
Yeah, they said that's all they're going to contribute.
No, wait, speak up.
Jay County, when I had a discussion with the surveyor and asked him like what the status and all that was, the commissioners down there said that they felt that they were only getting about $500 worth of benefit. They're only paying $500. It's not that they sent 500 and they still owe us 15. They said they're only paying 500. That's what the commissioners decided in Jay County. right or wrong, that's what they said.
Yeah. Well, I totally disagree with their approach.
Well, if they do that, they should put something in writing with a commitment from previous, saying, we've decided to do this, but to have it in writing, but we haven't, or she hasn't received anything like that, so.
I also can respond to you. Our board meeting for soil and water was supposed to have been last night. Cheryl's been on vacation for this week, and our meeting is next week, and that's one of the topics of, so I know that she had went to the budget hearings or whatever, and so I'm sure it's a matter of just presenting it, and we're approving it, and she'll be sending the checks, is what my assumption is.
Oh, you mean the commissioner's part?
Well, both of our
What
checks.
is soil and water contribution anyhow? So each county soil and water contribution is supposed to be,
1,000,
Commissioners are 2,000.
Okay, so-
Huntington writes it both from the soil and water.
yeah.
Yep.
okay. So, who, is everybody paid up, or is Adams County paid up on soil and water?
Yeah, I was just gonna say that, so for June, there's checks for Jay County, Adams County, and Wells County soil and water.
Jay, Adams, and Wells. And we just gave an update on Huntington.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, so here's what's gonna happen. Right now, everybody's putting their budgets together, a tentative budget together. And then sometime in July, the time comes when you can adjust a budget down, but you can't adjust it up. And then in September, your county councils are gonna approve the budgets from each department. So, right now, for 2027, does Jay County even have $500 in their budget for the Upper Wabash?
Right.
Or what do they have in their budget for the Upper Wabash?
Nobody's here.
Nobody's here. Well, I guess while we're discussing finance, last meeting, I said I'd come back this month and tell you what Adams County's willing to do next year. And we as commissioners put our commissioners' budget together tentatively for approval, and we are willing to contribute $7,000 to the Upper Wabash from the commissioner's budget. And the reason that I was able to tell the other, or suggest to the other two commissioners we should do this is because I feel if everybody would contribute equally based upon acreage coming in, you know, Jay County's got as much, if not more acreage than what Adams County does. And Jared, am I off on that?
No, you're right.
Probably about right.
Okay, so if we prorate it according to what we're willing to contribute, and each county contributes that based upon the acreage that drains into the Wabash, then I felt perhaps the board could then decide if we've got this extra money, we could maybe hire Rod Rippenberger on a part-time basis to come in here and help us do some stuff besides just writing grants, hoping they get approved, paying someone to administrate them, and blah, blah, blah. I've been through this scenario for how many years, okay? So this is our move. And if this move don't work, we're out.
What do you mean by out?
If this move don't work, why should I attend these meetings when you guys can approve grants, go for grants, get them administrator, do your thing with grants, and that I don't need to be here as a commissioner to go through that process.
Just clarifying what your statement was.
And I'm not guaranteeing that we're gonna contribute $7,000. We've gotta budget it. If no one else is gonna come to the plate, I'm not going to suggest to the two other commissioners that we contribute $7,000 to the Upper Wabash in 2027. Now, if everybody comes to the plate, we're there.
far yet, but we're trying to do an equation or calculation of the amount of acres to figure out what that number comes up to be. So hopefully, we'll have that information,
Okay.
hopefully here within the next week, 10 days. I don't know, is that
Hopefully
reasonable?
by the end of the week,
Okay.
hopefully by the end of the week.
Maybe we can, once we have a calculation, maybe she could send our percentage, dollar amount, whatever, if it's $5,800, if it's $6,100, whatever, we can email it to everybody.
Okay.
And then, actually, I just talked to the auditor in Jay County yesterday on a different matter, but I can call her back and ask for more information in regards to this, on this matter, and, at least plant the seed. Cause I'm not, I mean, this is the time we're making it public, this way they'll know firsthand what we're discussing, and she can pass it on, and she's the numbers person anyway, Jay County.
Rod called me, I know it's been a while, let's say within the last 6 weeks, and he was discussing, we were discussing, and, you know, I said, Rod, I said, if we could just do some of the things that happens in the mall meeting, you know, then, you know, if we could have you for your network, or for your contacts, for your leadership, for all of the stuff that you do, and he verbally on the phone told me, you know, I'd be willing, but we can't expect him to do it free.
Doug, can you put in writing your proposal so that when we have these numbers and we send out an email to all the 4 sets of
We don't
commissioners?
have much time, because everybody's putting their budget together now.
Well, if, as Blake said, if we get numbers together and we go approach the 4 individual executives of
Well,
the counties,
I
we
could personally get a hold of Rob Miller or Tom Wall, I know them, got their cell phones, and give them, Dave can do the same thing,
So,
from Huntington County standpoint, so.
and I guess, I'm pretty sure that I already have a watershed boundary in the GIS that I can get the information pretty quickly. But I don't have Jay County's information. I don't have Adams County's information. I don't have Huntington County's information. I'm wondering, with a soil and water district has access through USDA to, you can take that 8-digit HUC watershed, overlay it on a multiple county map, and you can say, here's how many acres each county has. Would that be fairly easily done?
Possibly. We had a map made last year of our part of the Upper Wabash, so we could put it at the fair, but I don't know if it had total acreage.
Well,
I could ask Rick,
I-
because he has the map at his house, but
that map came from me.
Mike, how many acres do we have
bigger
now?
one.
Yeah, it was,
Top of my head, I
I'm
can't
pretty
say.
sure Rick used what I said. We've got,
But where'd it come from?
7,000.
the
Here's how much per acre you're contributing in that.
the Phase 1
Basis
study.
for these other counties to work on.
I have to go back and double check what I cited it from. It's on I got a digital copy of it.
And I don't know if, maybe, we'd have to blow the dust off of one of those plans. It might say in that, how many acres each county has. We may have that information.
In Phase 1 it does. Now,
Phase 1 of Burke should have that.
But
I
we
have
don't,
one here.
no, we,
That's,
I remember discussing it one time or another.
but Huntington's gonna be the difficult one.
not really.
Okay, we've got the reservoir sitting in the middle of all that.
Yeah, there's a dam. Upstream of that is.
Just went over that Sunday. The Y coming in
But-
was,
Doug, can you put it in writing? I know you've talked about it, just give me something in writing, what you envision.
It's pretty simple, really.
Hire Rod, I know, but
Well, but what you want in writing, I think we
What-
need
what's the intent?
I think to make it real simple, Mike's gonna figure out how many acres, or we're gonna determine how many acres drains into the Wabash from Adams County. You divide that into 7,000, and it'll give you
per
I'll just
acre,
make
a
a
per
number.
acre cost.
Yeah, $1 per acre, okay? So, you prorate that, if Jay County has less acres, you prorate it accordingly. So then Wells, Huntington, Adam, we send that out, and this is what the amount, we've already done our 7,000, we've got it in our budget. Not gonna say we're gonna use it, I'm just saying, with approval of council, it's gonna be there, okay? If everybody's had that information, they go through their budget hearings, and the commissioners budget that amount into their commissioner's budget for the Upper Wabash, then the money should be there. And if they fail to do that, you know, I'm confident Wells is gonna, I can't remember Jay and Huntington, but, or Jay, but it's to the point where either people have an interest in this organization or they don't. And someone to say, well, I've got $500 worth of interest in it. Unacceptable.
I think the previous watershed management plan had the breakdown in there too, I believe. I'll just pull that out quick.
So my suggestion, Doug, would be get the acreage, prorated accordingly between you and Mrs. Blair, put a memo together, send it, and this is the board's expectation. We're not throwing it out there, well, how much are you willing to contribute?
The memo needs to, I would want the memo to include why we want the increase. That's why I'm asking you for a written proposal.
The reason would be to hire, whatever you want to call Rod, a consultant, or whatever you want to call him, the director of the MAWME, to give us some leadership and direction into doing some things similar to what the MAWME does. Not against writing grants. Hopefully they get approved. Hopefully you can do your planning as you have in the past. But I say, hey, let's go one step beyond that.
I appreciate what you've been saying over the years, even during your absence.
What's that?
I said I've appreciated what you have been saying over the years. I think the message I'm hearing, and I've said this since the beginning, is the county commissioners don't design the roads, they rely on an engineer. They don't design the ditches, they rely on a surveyor. We don't have anybody to rely on, that's what's been missing. We can't individually go out and execute projects and design them and oversee them. We need somebody, just like county commissioners need experts to oversee what they delegate money to do. So that's why I was asking, for, rather than Katie and I come up with the verbiage to express that, if you had that, if you had that already, you could write that down. Okay, so sometime before 1st of July, we need to get this stuff, a memo like that out, is what you're suggesting, is what you're proposing.
Really, that memo needs, so our budgets are due June 24th or 28th.
Something, I think it's the last Friday of the month.
Okay, I'm gone
6th.
next week. I'm out of town, probably out of internet
See if
connection.
we can get it done this week.
Okay,
I got tomorrow and-
put it this way.
Friday.
Okay. If I've got the breakdown, I'll call Doug Horn personally in Jay County, and I'll explain to him what the expectation of this board is, at least, I can't speak for the board, I'm only a board member, okay? I can call Doug Horn personally and say, Doug, this is what Adams County's doing, and we prorated, the board has prorated the acreage coming into the Upper Wabash, and Adams County is willing to kick this much in out of our commissioner's budget, okay, for services. And I'll take care of that. Instead of a letter, instead of a memo, I'll make a personal phone call to Doug Horn and explain the situation. And
there's one piece though. The county commissioners are willing to put it in their budget.
That's what we did,
I will.
The county council has not approved that yet.
pending council approval.
There's 7 other people that's gotta decide that that's a good thing.
Well, I'm confident it'll be okay in Adams County.
I'm just saying, in every county, you've got 7 other people
I
that,
understand.
if the commissioners are 100% on board, you've still got 7 other people that decide whether that's
Right.
true or not.
And if it don't work out, then we're gonna have to Adams County's gonna have to decide if we're still gonna contribute that $7,000, if we're just gonna go back to 2,000 and life goes on.
I'm gonna write the memo and then I will send it out to the group and you guys can review it, but I can start the first draft. How does that sound?
Yes.
So we can do that.
Send it to me and we'll work out a memo to send out.
Yeah, we can do that. I can do that.
Can you email to me?
Oh, yeah, I can email it to,
Everybody, okay.
I can email it to.
Can you wait until we get the break, when you do, before you send it out, can you get the breakdown on,
Yeah, whenever you guys wanna send the breakdown, I'm not gonna, yeah, you just give me the information and then we can.
Kyle, I mean, speak up, what, you think we're on the right track here or not?
Well, that seems the best alternative that we've had. I'm a little shocked at Jay. I mean, I know that Tom and Stoffel are getting more and more in our favor, but here again, it's still, but I know that Cheryl already had she was to them on past Monday. So they made it easier when we upped the budget. They're putting their quote 2,000 in our budget, soil and water, because they didn't want to make another line item in their deal. So that's why it's that way. But they have been all in favor of that. So I know with stuff happening, I know that Tom and Terry definitely, Stoffel would be in favor.
It's not important how the money rolls through what budget,
Yeah, but
but as long as it rolls through one way or the other. And in Adams County, it's gonna be through the commissioner's budget. And then soil and water is separate.
Okay, let's move forward on that. Do you have
Forward on the,
Claim.
financial report, these are our claims.
Claims,
The
yeah.
claims that I discussed on the financial reports, the website, payroll liabilities, and then my salary, are on this sheet, so if you'd like to sign it.
executive committee needs to sign it?
It says signatures of governor and board,
Yeah,
so everybody,
well, no,
It doesn't matter.
everybody can sign it. That'll
Do you
cover,
need a
that'll,
motion to approve the financial?
yeah, you have a motion to,
I'll make the motion.
I'll second that.
okay, Blake made a motion to approve the claims. Ja-
Just that sign that.
And Jared has seconded that motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Aye.
Okay. Okay, we talked about funding requests, new, old business. Doug Newsbaum.
Doug, can I just,
Yeah.
one more question? Okay, soil and water, I'm sorry, your first name again?
Taylor.
Taylor. Okay, do you have periodic or any consistent relationship and communication with your commissioners?
My board member goes to the commissioner meetings, but I submit the claim every year.
Okay, can you, maybe as, in addition to what Katie's doing, can maybe your soil and water board go and maybe at a commissioner meeting, explain a little bit more in detail what this is about? And then I'll make a personal call to Doug Horn.
I can ask him to, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, Doug Newsbaum, can you please give us an update on the application for the watershed diagnostic study?
Yeah, good morning. So we are just now entering into our reviews of our, what we call our summer grants, which the diagnostic studies fall under. I would expect we will make our proposals to Indianapolis in January
So walk us through, if we're approved, what follows?
Okay, you're approved. We have, and I can email you guys, or email Katie or you, or whoever, and you can pass it out. We have what we call scope of services, that we customize for each individual project we have. They're kind of a generic document that we can add, delete, but it's a starting point. And I'll email that, or it's on our website too. You can go there and hold down and look at it. But we would customize the scope of services for the study you guys want, what you want to look at. And then it would go out for bid. We have consultants that do that. Of course, Kyle does that too. She's not on our list, but she could be included if you guys like. If you know other consultants that does that kind of work.
That's Kyle Quant.
Kyle, yeah, I'm sorry. There's several that do that kind of work. Send it out for, you guys will send it out for bid. I'll know whoever through that process. You wait, come back, and then you guys make a decision based on the proposals that you receive, who you want to go with.
And what's the percentage of match?
20%.
And
Of
that,
that 20%, half of that, half your out of pocket can be in-kind services. So we would require at least 2 public meetings. There's your 10% right there. Consultant's gonna say, you guys host the public meetings, you guys, do the minutes for those public meetings, give them to me so I can include them in the plan. There's your 10% in-kind services. So now you're looking at, you applied for 80,000, so it'd be about 6,000 to 8,000. I don't know what the bids will come in at either. So let's just say, what was your total cost, 80,000 on that? Or no, that's what you were asking for.
yeah, this is January. There's been a few other things happen since.
Yeah, and I don't get service in here, so I can't look it up. Anyways.
So, but we're looking at minimum,
So you're looking at minimum 10% of the total cost.
minimum 10% cash total cost. Okay. So we're looking at somewhere between $8,000 to $10,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that depends on how the proposals come in.
Okay, the
So
past,
where do we get, even if everything goes as planned, where's this organization gonna get $8,000 to $10,000?
what was the,
What?
Good question.
we have what, 16,000 in the bank?
We have 16,000 and 10,000 that's not allocated currently.
How much not allocated? Not allocated?
$10,278.
Oh, it's a good truth.
Nip and tuck.
You know, if we get to that point where you're approved everything and you guys just all of a sudden say, hey, such and such county didn't pay, or this didn't happen, or we didn't get our allocation, we need to postpone this, put this off for a year, you're not gonna get penalized. We're not gonna say, oh, we tried to give you a grant,
What was the sheet you said we could download? Scope of services, yeah, scope of services.
If you look on our website, it'll have a layer manual. You click on that, and it'll be scope of services, along with documents in our application.
No, I'm like you, I haven't refreshed my memory lately on, okay. So how, I think this is bare bones water management plan is what it is.
It is, but we can tweak that. We can add a few things if we need to. And one of the things I discussed with, we had some preliminary discussions the other day, is you guys want to make sure that you get a good plan, and also everything that's in this plan
Can fit in.
is,
Yep.
makes you eligible to apply for
Right.
19 funding if you want to too. So, those plans are a little more expensive than traditional watershed diagnostic studies, because IDEM does require a few more things that we don't. But, so we'll make sure that happens, that you'll be eligible for both layer funding and pre-19 program funding.
So, and if we were granted this watershed diagnostic study grant,
Yep.
it would begin when?
Realistically, the grants are administered, or grants, I'll be able to tell you first couple weeks of July. Then we go through the PO process, which this last round went a lot quicker than normal. I would say by late August, sometime in September, you would have an active contract with us. So it could then go out for bid, and you could have somebody on by the end of the year.
Okay.
Can I fast forward just a bit? Okay, let's say, appreciate that, all the information, all right? Let's say we go through everything we're talking about, we come up with $8,000 to $10,000, okay? We get the diagnostic with the flexibility this year or next year, whatever, okay? We get all of the data and all of the information that you touched on. I understand that it's really kind of a water management thing, but tweaked a little further perhaps, okay? We get to that, that will enable us then, I heard you say, enable us to either apply for a layer or a 319, okay? If we get to that point and we apply for one of those grants and we're approved, what would be the end result of either the layer or the 319? What could we use that grant money for on this organization?
Okay, so years ago when you did your first study, I think I worked extensively with, we had some project, I want to say with Jay. Their SWCD took advantage of that and had some watershed. Well, we have a watershed land treatment program that funding can only go to the SWCDs. And that's similar to the EQIP program, if ever you guys are familiar with that. We offer a few more practices. Our practices also, we adhere, we follow field office tech guide, but we have a little leeway to tweak things. So those are working, the SWCDs are working with farmers and sub-watersheds. We did, what else did we do? We did, the result was that project in Bluffton on the riverbank we just finished up. That was a result of that study done years ago. There was a couple of, did another one upstream of Bluffton, one or two projects we did.
There was one in Adams.
There was the road,
East of Geneva on 116.
Yeah, we did one out there. I mean, so
and there was two projects that were not funded by you, but resulted the 116 straightening and then the Jay County and Adams County jointly doing the road.
but that one that just was finished here within the last year, downtown Bluffton, Wabash, we were working with,
Randy
with
Fechter,
branding with the
Parks Department.
We've actually worked a couple times with her on different projects. So the result, it allows other
Okay.
organizations to use that information and apply for grants.
So one of the things.
The
I don't know
SWC
if you caught it or not, Stormwater Jay County, one of the things he just mentioned was, when we went through all of this before, and we got to the 319 or layer, Jay County did have some projects done.
Yeah.
And they're saying, listen, we're only getting $500 worth, and that's what we're gonna contribute. I think that would be good documentation to put in front of Jay County and say, look, years ago, we did this, and this.
I'm trying to think, Adams County might have did Brewster Ditch, Jay County, I'm trying to think of the name of the water, because I oversaw those at that
the studies, either through Lair or the 39, or the 205J, to get the 319, you can't go after the grants unless you have that diagnostic study, those plans. I mean, that's why the SWCDs were in on trying to get the 319, is we need a water management plan. So, okay, that segues into the notice of intent for the 319. Any more questions for Doug about the Lair grant? Katie and I did send a notice of intent to apply for a 319, to reapply what we applied for last year by September. For this September, again, reapply the same, update the application. Are there any questions on that? We sent the letter of intent to Miranda Wentz of the IDM that Upper Wabash River Basin Commission was intending to resubmit an application for a 319 grant due by September. And last meeting, we did talk about doing that anyways. If we got both grants, then we would deal with that issue if we got both grants. Any questions or comments on either one of those projects, applications? Okay, new business. Rod Reckenberger of the Maumee River Basin Commission sent out a May 13th email about we're making us wonder if we want to apply for state funding again. 2 years ago, we made an attempt to get Travis and some of the other local representatives to get us in the budget. Obviously, you know the results of that. Rod sent an email. I think it went out to everybody. Got it. What are your thoughts about submitting a request to get into the next 2-year budget beginning next year? July 1st, 2027 to 28, and then July 28 to 29.
Well, if you don't try, you're not gonna get in.
I was gonna say, you don't ask, the answer's no.
Right.
All right, so does somebody want to take the lead on this?
Well, first and foremost, since Travis
I
lost, so
Travis will not be representing this area.
it'd be Adams County. I just lost his name.
Matt?
Yeah, Matt Lehman. I mean, that would be.
The other, there's 4 representatives. There's going to be whoever replaces Travis, and then there's, Matt has opposition this fall, likely. Andy Zay is gone. I don't know who replaced Andy. Someone was appointed. And then Larissa Sweet.
So it was defeated.
But then defeated in the primary.
Okay, was
So
it?
Parker is the new rep over in Huntington.
So.
You know, when you say, you know, if the board decides to go forward with at least applying for something, regardless of what legislators are in office, you know, there's always gonna be changes. And you say, who's gonna take the leadership? This is exactly the reason that I'm supporting more funds for this organization to get Rod Reppenberger. Let him take the lead. There's no one more qualified. No one has more contacts.
So I think we've missed the deadline to get in the state budget.
What do you say it? Did he say it here?
So I was at a conference last week with Rod. And I know in the evenings, he was doing things to get everything into, because like while we were gone is when everything needed to be in for that request. I won't swear to that, but I know Rod was doing things in the evenings, and we may have missed that opportunity.
Well, the letters I sent out for the last round of budgets were dated 26th of December, 2024, to the 4 representatives. So that was to get into the July 1st, 2025 fiscal year.
That might have been the governor's budget instead of the legislative.
So there's, like, the budget
No, it was-
that is written by the
Yeah,
state budget agency and all that stuff, the governor's budget that's right now. And then when it goes through the legislative process, if you have a champion for your project, there's a chance of you getting things into that budget if you have a legislator who's a champion for your cause. I think just being able to try to get slid into the governor's budget right now, I think that ship has sailed. I think our only chance is getting a legislator from this area who would be a champion for it and trying to get it in during the legislative session. But you've got to get a legislator that is willing to burn up some political capital to ask for that.
and we won't know that till after the first Tuesday of November. Now, Rod, again, and I have the budget, yeah, here we go, the budget, the proposed budget. So there's a table I worked up 2 years ago. And it involves what we proposed. Rod said, so you sent out what your previous operating costs were. If we're looking for, we were asking 2 years ago for 100,000 and 100 and, I think 2,000, whatever. It was under what the other three were asking, and then way under, and then the other three were all given appropriations under 100,000. We were just cut out.
Back to Jared's point, Doug, would it be conducive to maybe, you said something about December.
That's when we did this in 2024, the letters I have dated to the 4 representatives are in December.
Okay, Matt Lehman is already somewhat familiar with this organization. Remember, he
Yeah.
met us in the library across the street, what, a year ago or whatever it was? Maybe to get invite Matt to one of the meetings, before he gets too busy with upcoming legislative stuff, and present to him what our thought is, and if we need a legislator to carry it forward, he's probably, I think, third ranking rep in the state. And if you want to pursue it through the legislative, because like Jared said, the rest of us already probably sailed, so.
Well, and I remember, I think it was earlier this year, could have been late last year, the state budget office had contacted all the river basin commissions, wanted information.
But they didn't contact us.
I think they did. They emailed,
I don't remember. Okay, go on.
and I'm not sure that we ever contributed any information to them.
I don't remember. Okay, I don't remember. Because you brought that up, I remember we haven't been contacted, and you made the comment, well, that indicates what they think. I can go back and see if it's on.
I would check to see if there's emails I know they were requesting information from all of the river basin commissions, even ones that they weren't funding at the time. And I don't know if we ever submitted that information to them.
Point.
Just saying.
Okay, I go back and recheck. I know I checked once and I didn't find
Okay,
anything.
and maybe they never contacted us. Maybe it was only the ones that they had put funding into that they were checking into. I don't know.
All right, so any pursuit of state funding, it sounds like, is gonna have to wait till after, well, any formal pursuit has to wait till after the election, because we don't know who's gonna be sitting in those seats.
I think we're pretty sure who's gonna be.
What, you're referencing the meeting with Matt Lehman a year and a half or so ago. A lot of that stemmed from the the state's push for the regional water supply systems and their studies. And both Larissa Sweet and Andy Zay had expressed a desire to meet with us, but got busy with their legislative schedules. So I would suggest we may pursue that again, is asking the representatives to meet with us, like we did with Matt. And we've got the Forks of the Wabash we can meet at. I talked with Melissa and Andy about that. I think that would be very good, as Doug suggested, about what he sensed from meeting with Matt, is at least they got to know who we are, and maybe they would pick up and champion for us. Okay, so we'll bring this up to next meeting. Is there any more discussion about pursuing state funding from the state budget? Funding from the state budget. All right. Future events, seminars, workshops, we don't have the money to do projects, but we do have the money to reach out. We have the capacity to reach out, educate, enlighten. Julie Davis-Good from the Allen County SWBCD sent out an email. I'd like to have her talk about where we may be able to partner with them.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you, Chair Sunland. One of my requests today, my main request today in being here is we received a CWI grant, so Clean Water Indiana in Allen County, to extend what we call our Smart Soils project that Mike Whirling, Greg Lake, and Rhiannon Lake were seminal in initiating drone and water soils, moisture sensors, other smart, if you will, agricultural indicators. And so we had that in the Western Lake Erie Basin, but it did not serve those in Auglaize in that large Huck 4, and it did not serve any of those upstream tributaries to the Wabash. And we have the Eel, which is in the northern sixth of our county, and we have the Little River sub-watershed, which is actually quite a notable contributor to your commission's land. And so, when we receive that grant, we are required annually to conduct a watershed tour. And so, the Auglaize is easy for us to do because we've done many up our day at the lake, if you will, if you've gone up to Toledo and visiting. I think some of you may have gone fishing up there on an overnight. And then we also go to Stone Laboratory, which is the Ohio State Laboratory. We've been there repeatedly. So the Auglaize, I think we can handle in the next year or two and get that into the 4-year cycle of the grant. However, we have no good long-term connections in your neck of the woods. And so because of your organization and your contacts, I come today asking for recommendations of engaging experts that would help us set up a bus tour down from the Aboit Creek, down through the Little River, down through Huntington, presumably, and possibly further. Maybe with 4 stops along the way, great place for lunch, maybe in Huntington. And so we just need high-level engagement. So somebody that'll really help us know that watershed, sub-watershed, and we need expert information. So any scientific people, DNR people, cooperative extension people, anyone you would recommend that has that. Go get them, jump on the bus for 10 miles or so, take us around an area.
You wanting this by a certain time to?
We'd love to do it in the October timeframe when the trees are changing and they can actually see more of bank erosion, and so we'd like good stories and the failures, that have not been addressed, problem areas. 79% of the upper, so the western Lake Erie Basin is agricultural land that drains between Fort Wayne and, Defiance. And so we've geared it toward agricultural, and I think we would do the same down here. Southwest Allen County is a little less agricultural, it's more development, and so we'd like to include people from the airport. The proposed quarry got voted down, but we would have included them. Anyone who's contributed to that area of development, resulting in sediment and other pollutants into the upper Wabash.
So you envision finishing at the Forks, Wabash?
We will see where we can find the people. I mean, we've got a full day, and normally we would be out on boats up in Lake Erie.
You're not
We
gonna be
would
on
love to do
boats.
that sort of thing. If you know of a water tour that's technically what it's called. It's called a water tour. So we'd love to get somewhere and,
This is just a thought.
Yeah.
So if you're gearing this towards farmers, and you want it when the trees are changing colors, that's right in the middle of fall,
Yep.
Harvest.
right in the middle of harvest.
Yep.
They're not gonna be there.
and thank you.
They're gonna be in a combine, they're not gonna be wanting to kayak down a river that doesn't have enough water at that time of the year to go kayaking.
And we are,
Just
we want
saying.
to start with our audience, and so that's why I'm here, is who do you think is in the audience? Then we go after a program and the learning outcomes that will happen that day, then we set the date. But
Okay.
just as a general ask, I would love for you to communicate with me. I'll give you my cards at the end. You can just email me names that pop in, give you my cell phone if you prefer to text.
Have you contacted the Little River watershed folks?
They are, half of them. So Eagle Marsh is technically on the east side of the berm that was constructed by the Army Corps. So the big space is in actually our St. Mary's Watershed Management Plan, which I've also asked it to just give you an update later in public comment. But correct. Yes.
Okay,
Yes. Fox Island.
do you have Bob Barr's contact information? He's been the point man for the diagnostic studies, and that, the last one, not the water management plans, and the last one he did was the Little River. So he's been up and down on that.
Didn't
But,
realize that was his.
but yeah, I guess keep us posted. Jared's comment about pick your time well, because harvest season will corral the farmers. Keep us posted.
If that's your target audience.
Right.
What do you think? Who should be our target? What watershed data do you have in terms of water quality that would indicate what the pollutants are?
We don't have that kind of data. When your email, for me, I envisioned, this is a way to enlighten whoever wants to see what the watershed's about, whether it's the farmers or, as you indicated, the Little River's gotten quite a lot of attention here in southwest Allen County due to both the medical center being developed and then the quarry and then Huntertown. Don't know who would be there, who might show up. You might get people who are they're just curious about the watershed.
And that's part of why we want to be very clear about what we're going to accomplish. No offense ever to any of these trips, that you kind of have the groupies that just like the free lunch and jump on the bus, and it's typically free. In the past, recently, we've started Chartwell. I think it's gone up and down. Sometimes it's a cost to get skin in the game and kind of sort out those that are just there for free lunch, and it's modestly affordable so that anyone could attend. So a whole day on the boats and everything, I think last year we charged $50.
Kyle, wasn't that, years past when we did the studies, like, we did a study from the Ohio line up to Bluffton, I think, and then there was another section that did, and we eventually got to Huntington County, didn't we, on a study?
Yeah,
Okay, wouldn't some data from that study be useful for her when she's talking about
Yeah.
pollutants?
Was this Cheryl?
yeah.
Did Cheryl run the program?
Well, Cheryl, yeah,
She's a little bit of a little.
yeah, what Doug's reference is our water management plans. Christopher Burke did all three of them. It was from Ohio state line to White Bridge, White Bridge to
Markle.
to the, yeah, the east end of the reservoir. And then the third one was the Little River. And
So
Cheryl,
that's phase 1, 2, and 3?
Yes.
yeah,
Okay.
and Cheryl and Huntington SWCD oversaw the third one. So it had, anyways,
What I was gonna say.
she would have the
is-
date if,
Great. I
data.
have the WMP pulled up, actually, so I found what you were referring to earlier, at least phase 3.
Yeah, they should be posted.
23rd. Come 23rd in the evening.
So when,
Got it.
so when you do these tours, I think our organization focuses on water quality.
Face with her, not this week, but 23rd is the meeting at 7. I mean, technically, everything you're saying is gonna be that third plan, and as much or more through us.
Got it. This is perfect. Thank you.
I mean,
I didn't
it's good to reach out, as this would be like a, you know, how you're always looking for partners or whatever. This would be a good partner, but based upon that CWI, this is probably not necessarily through Huntington SWCD, but your most information would be this phase 3.
Thank you. That's perfect.
And since it was touched on briefly, I saw, you know, everybody's doing their social media thing. I saw another social media thing last night. I was reading how they are saying, you know, the quarry got shut down and everything else, how the Little River and how everything, and they talked about flooding and everything else, how we need to try to preserve it into the wetlands and whatever else. Well, yeah, we know that. That's what we've been trying to solve.
So I have been on quite a few of these tours over the years, especially up to Lake Erie and around Allen and Adams counties. They're always interesting. There are some people that are there just for the lunch, but usually you can get a number of people in there that does it. One thought that would interest farmers is Grand Lake St. Mary's, of how the water comes over to here, you know, the beginning of the rivers. I don't know if that's a long drive for a 10-minute stop.
I can teach you in a few words, the Ohio theory on getting rid of water. Get it out of Ohio.
Yeah, right. So I don't know if that's fits in.
That's great.
So I have some thoughts. So I know a lot about the quarry that was going into the Little River. What if so from my understanding is the community is coming together to like create a project of like what that area could look like. So what if you target it towards like people in Allen County that, so they can see what happens at the Little River, how that influences downstream, like into our county too.
And is that the same group that was the elaborate website with all the information, the resources they're going forward with the project?
I think they're coming together to try to form a project, but I don't think it's completely shut down the quarry with all the landowners right now.
I shouldn't have misspoken too early, because there are still
Nobody
appeals.
knows, nobody
Yep.
knows.
Yep.
No, feel free to email us, email me, or we'll pass along. You know, we can plug in as we see appropriate. But yeah, I definitely would encourage that. That would be interesting to go to see the whole Little River on a tour.
The Little River is really interesting because of all the straightening and
Yeah.
the changing they've done over the years.
Okay, I sent out an email about the Teacher Conservancy doing conservation drainage design workshop. I suggested an idea of maybe, does this organization want to do like a half a day workshop with similar in partnership with the Nature Conservancy. Seth, what's his name, Seth? Art, yeah, Art, emailed back, he couldn't be here today, but he would welcome, working with us. So whether or not that happens this year or next year, it looked like a good idea. I was looking more, Garrett's giving me his comments, looking to Mike Whirling for his input, but I thought that might be a good way. We're not proposing, it doesn't require a whole lot of money, and we can bring in an experts and have them talk about conservation drainage design.
And I'm gonna correct you and say that it does require a lot of money.
Okay, well,
So-
we look into it, yeah.
Well, so I've been involved through the land improvement contractors in a lot of field days. I helped tile at Northeast Purdue Ag Center, Southeast Purdue Ag Center, Davis Purdue Ag Center, over at Lafayette at the Acre Farms. I've been involved in a lot of those. And the contractors will show up, the equipment manufacturers will show up with a piece of equipment to demo it. And the contractors will show up to run the new piece of equipment and to try it out. And the tile manufacturers will donate a certain amount of tile so that there's yellow tile and green tile and blue tile and all the different colors there. But that's not enough to tile a farm so that you actually get to see what's going on. And somebody's got to pay for that. And so, say I've been involved in a lot of them at Purdue, and Purdue paid for a project. Now, because the land improvement contractors did it, and there was a lot of donations, we were always able to bid that project a lot cheaper than a regular contractor coming in and tiling a Purdue research farm. But there was money paid, and it was a lot of money. But it had to pay for the material, it had to pay for all the stuff to do it, that you're not gonna get contractors and equipment manufacturers and tile companies to donate stuff for a half a day. Isn't gonna happen.
My intent is just to get back with Seth. If it's Nature Conservancy, they want to sponsor, they want to work with us, they're the ones that are gonna have to fund it. And
Well,
I
you
wanted,
gotta find somebody that has a piece of dirt that they're wanting to do like drainage
Well-
waters management.
I want to talk with, I guess, to pursue this, we've been sit down with Seth and say, we've never done this, what do we need to do? What's the outline? We're not gonna be tiling a whole farm. What do you want to do?
Then
And,
a person isn't going to come in and tile a tenth of a farm.
well, I'm not even
That's
sure,
not-
I'm not even sure what, I need to find, I don't know. Maybe it's something other than just being in a field laying down tile.
My advice, I've shared this with Doug, I'll share it with the board. My advice is to partner with somebody like Leica, land improvement contractors, whatever, and just partner with them on a field day somewhere that, help sponsor it, help advertise it, do whatever. It may not be right here in our area. You may have to drive up to the Northeast Purdue Ag Center. It's 45 minutes away. Partner with them, that they know how to run one, they know how to make it work. That's my advice. I don't have time, and I don't think any of us on this board have time to manage a field day.
Doesn't, Adams County or Soil and Water used to have a field day of different things?
Well, SWCDs all have field days.
Why can't you hook up with one of their field days?
Well, I've just brought this one up because Seth sent us it was a 2-day workshop at Danville, Illinois. And I was reading through it, and I thought, well, this is a little different than what we've done here. It was an idea to bring up. Jerry and I have talked about it. I wanted to, like to get some input from Mike. But it struck me as something worthwhile. It's an idea. Introduce it.
Your big thing, there's a couple big things. One, when you have the public coming to somebody has to have insurance. That, whether it's us, I mean, somebody has to cover them, that the farmer that owns that farm doesn't want that liability. And so, that's why we were always very successful at having it at a Purdue facility. And Purdue was always wanting to try something new with drainage on a research farm somewhere in the state. And, yeah, you might have to drive to Red Key. You might have to drive to, I forget where northeast, what town it's close to. Columbia City. We don't have a Purdue research farm right in this area to have one at. But it's not that big of a deal to drive, but you've got to partner with somebody that they're willing to go in and tile 80 acres. That you're not going to get the equipment manufacturers and the contractors and all the donations for a half a day. It's just not going to fly.
I wasn't envisioning that, but
It could be done, say a drainage water management structure, installing that could be done.
Yes.
In smaller
Yes.
demonstrations. And the Nature Conservancy is, they have a lot of funds for that.
But
They have, it depends on their.
But I am going to say, it does cost quite a bit of money
Yeah.
to have one of those field days. It's in the background, but it costs quite a bit of money to have one.
okay. Like I said, I agree, we need somebody to be promoting, whether it's grants or field days, workshops, seminars. We got the ideas. Okay, claim forms have been approved, I guess. You got public comments and other business. Julie, you said you had a comment?
I do. I just want to bring you all up to speed on the St. Mary's Watershed Management Plan, because it hits a couple of your counties, three, actually, well, two of your counties. And so pertinent to your prior discussion and all the questions you raised, we were funded almost 2 years ago to write the Watershed Management Plan, which is 14 chapters of a watershed inventory, not unlike what Doug laid out earlier, and then another 13 chapters of what's gonna be done. Similar to your Upper Wabash Phase 3 management plan that was approved in 2025 by EPA and IDEM. So it's a EPA-funded project, passed through IDEM, but all the approvals go all the way up and all the way down. So it is similar to what you were discussing. So we are moving forward on that. Our first steering committee meeting was 3 weeks ago now, and it was held at the Adams County Fairgrounds in order to facilitate that primary audience of agricultural producers, and we have incorporated about half of the invitees have been commercial and residents beyond farmers. So we got about half of them farmers and then half residents commercial, with some government folks that are neither. So, but most government folks that are there are double dutying. And so our county SWCD took the lead just because of a whole series of events, and we are the fiduciary, our board is the fiduciary, they're approving all the expenditures, but the work is being done across Adams and Allen County lines, and then the city of Fort Wayne has been very gracious to be involved. So our group is writing it. We did not hire a consultant. It's what I've done in my whole life as a professor, so I'm the stick, and we're moving along. We will probably need consultation help as we move, maybe numbers or final edits or that sort of thing toward the end. But this runs through January 20th of 2028. And so any of you are welcome to come. Anyone's welcome to come see what we're doing. We're doing it in an unusual way. And that's my second request to the board, that I wanted to remind you, especially SWCD folks, of the Indiana Association of Soil and Water Conservation Conference and Business Meeting, which is in January. So it's January 24th, which is a Sunday, through the 26th, which is a Tuesday, in Indy at the Hilton. It's that big conference that used year, and now it's every other year due to cost. But the reason I'm bringing it to you is that there will be watershed management sessions. And there's a workshop, and I must freely disclose, they invited me to provide the workshop on how to set up a water management group. And I'm just, so much of what you've been discussing is how to set up an effective watershed management plan and where to start. And so I do it very strangely, and they've asked me to present just a very different opinion of how this can be done. And we'll know by then, Mike will know whether it's been mostly successful for the first year of meetings and all. But I wanted to make sure you knew that.
Questions, comments? Taylor, you have anything you want to offer? Items for the next meeting, August 12th.
I do have one more item for this meeting.
Okay.
Can I?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So I have a resolution to transfer funds. So this past year, I was new to the job. I did not understand payroll taxes. I had no idea. And so I submitted the 941s in January, and I wrote out one check for the year. And what had happened then is that you can't do that. You cannot do that. And so now
You
we
have
need-
to what? Explain what you have
do
to.
it quarterly, right?
You have to do it quarterly, yes, and I am doing it quarterly for 2026, so no worries there.
And if you pay in advance, they penalize you.
Oh, I did not know that. Well,
And she was paying for quarters that we had no employee. So follow the bouncing ball.
it's very complicated. So the first thing is, so I paid all of our payroll liabilities for 2025 and 2026. So that drained our payroll liabilities for this year. And then we might have a few fees because I did not do it correct, and I don't know what the fees are. I'm still trying to contact the IRS. If anybody has any tips for the IRS, please let me know. Because I just get on the phone and then they just hang up. So what I need to do, and I would like to transfer funds from our contingency, understanding we spent we did spend $450 last year for payroll liability, so that went into our contingency fund. But I calculated it cost about $700 for payroll liabilities,
It's not mine.
for the 2026
Usually I'm outdue.
timeframe, and then I added an extra $200 in case we have any fees. And I can pay for the fees out of my own
No,
paycheck.
no.
So I just wanna let you know, I'm willing to do that. So I just wanna transfer, and I wanna make sure I don't have to do this twice, but I wanna transfer $911.04, from our contingency, we might not use that all. $900 into our payroll liabilities for 2026. So that's $700 to cover 2026 for payroll liabilities that I've calculated, and then an extra $200.
Okay.
Um,
Are you looking for a motion for that to be approved?
I
Is that what you need?
think I have to have a vote.
Yes, we need a motion.
Motion,
I'll make the motion.
Okay, Doug, motion do I have a second?
Second.
Second from
Mike.
Mike.
Second.
Any further discussion on the transfer of money? This is resolution what number?
Resolution 2026-1.
Our first one for this year. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All those opposed? So just everybody sign off.
Yeah, I'll just pass this up. Thank you so much, and I will email this out so you guys can read through it if you need any reference, but I'm learning a lot.
Yeah, if you wait and pay it all at the end of the year, there's a penalty. If you paid in advance, there's a penalty. It's stupid. It is absolutely stupid.
No one's front.
You miss
You
it
have
by
to
your
pay it
estimate,
quarterly.
then
You
there's
have
a-
to pay it quarterly. Yeah, it's crazy.
And we were getting penalized for not making quarterly payments last year because
When you don't have something.
even though we didn't have an employee, we were still
Yes.
getting. And I'm-
Because you're in the system that you have
Yeah.
to make quarterly payments.
And that-
So,
and
like,
I
if
did
they
not-
don't get one, then they say that you owe it and you penalize, and then you have to prove that you didn't owe it.
It finally worked.
Beat it hard enough.
blame it on them.
Okay,
Firms.
items for our next meeting, August 12th. Looks like it's just going to be a continuation of what we talked about today. Hopefully Doug Newsbaum will be sitting here going, here's what you have to do. Anyways, we'll see what Doug has to offer us. Okay. I have a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Blake, a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Take, any nays? Consider. All right, that ends our meeting for June 11th.